Hey, okay, so I ran out of space. Sorry about that. So, anyways, I was talking. This is part two of a talk I'm having about harassment and threats made, third-party Anglican corruption, and etc. Yada yada. So, anyways, this video is about a threat that was made to me and about how the police ignored it, and about how it was very difficult for me to get the threat uh, reported, and there was a lot of resistance, indicating to me that there's a relationship between the Anglican Church and police in New South Wales. So I was saying in the previous video that this guy Delangsquield came up and had, when I pulled my car in from getting soup, Delangsquield pulled his car into the parking space, the driveway for 124, and 124 is a building owned by the Anglican Church. They don't like people parking their vehicles there, but Delangsquield is special, I guess, because he's got a special relationship with the Anglicans, and he does dirt for the maybe he does. I think he does. Evidence suggests it. Does dirt for the More Theological Bible College uh, property manager. So he's parked. He's got his car parked there, and he is. I see him over the fence. I get out of my car and do a few things, and then right as I open my door, like almost, I don't even stop my car. Almost, another car pulls in and parks into that girls' parking spot. The girl who had her friends come to feed her cat, the friends who didn't go to her unit but instead came to my unit and tried a whole bunch of different keys in my door to try and find which one opened my door. They knew where her unit was. It wasn't mistaken. I had seen the guy go into her unit before. He knew where it was. He just wanted to test keys in my screen, and they were using this as a justification. Now, they should have heard me playing violin. It's pretty noisy, and they should have realized that she doesn't play violin. This is the wrong unit. But it didn't. They used the violin to try and cover up the screen door noise. So, anyways, it was premeditated. The people in the unit next to us, foolfully, games foolfully. He's gone now. He's got a job, but he's a computer cracker, mathematician, cryptographer. He must have called them and said, "Yeah, he's playing his uh, violin. Come now," because every day I was playing at the same time. Yeah, he's playing his violin. Come now. He won't hear you. So, anyways, getting back to my story of threats and police corruption and Anglican corruption. So I parked the car and I just turned it off. And as soon as I turn it off, this guy pulls in. And I had seen this guy before. I had seen his car there before, and he's been here before. And several times he has, you know, been aggressive. He's not aggressive directly so that you can say that he's aggressive, but you can tell by his glare and his nastiness. Like, for example, I would be walking in or out, walking towards my unit, and then she would be walking out with this nasty look in her face, like just total evil eye, like total stink eye, and he'd be walking right behind her, like watching me, like with his angler grin, like his little fake grin, like he'd just be staring at me. And that's what they do all the time. They try to intimidate you with this stupid grin, and they stare at you. So, anyways, he's walking right behind her, and he's just waiting for an opportunity to say something. And he's hogging the entire sidewalk. So I've got to walk off and go on the lawn because he doesn't want to share the sidewalk with me, and neither does she. And this is about the only interaction we had since I confronted her about, why did you have your friends come to my screen door? And she was pissed off about that. Now, that had been over a year ago, close to 2 years that had happened. And here comes this guy parking in her spot. So I figured, okay, there's a problem. And I look over, Delangsquield is parked in his car, and he's got his phone out, and I'm like, okay, there's a problem. So then I get out and get out of my car, and I go to check the mailbox for junk mail. And I see that he is indeed sitting there with his phone. And I walked beside the front of the car, and I looked over to where my car was, and I could see that there was a direct line of sight from where he was sitting to my car. So he could see with his phone, if he wanted to record the incident, he could have recorded it and saw everything and caught it all on video. And I think that's probably what he was hoping to do. I went back to the car and did some more stuff around the car, and then I um, saw that he was still sitting there. So I the guy who pulled into the girl spot was still sitting there in his car, and he was just staring at me as I was busying myself around the car. He had his phone up like this, and he said later on that he was just looking at his phone, but I think he was like glaring at me or trying to intimidate me or trying to start something, trying to get me to say, hey, what's your problem, or trying to get me to stare back at him, and then he'd be like, what are you staring at, that type of thing. So I never engaged. I just sat in my car and waited for him to go away. But I had been sitting in my car now for 2 minutes. Or I had parked my car, and my car had been parked for about 3 minutes. I walked down to the mailbox, came back. This is going on 4 or 5 minutes now. So finally I got in my car. DeLange squealed, looked from his car up to where I was, and he grabbed his bags and gave up, I guess, left his car and came in, and I looked over my shoulder at him, and he was smirking at me. So I think he was involved in what was going on. And I think that he was probably wanting to try, that's my reading, that's my take, trying to get it on phone and from the street so that he could say, see how mean he is, see how loud he is, he disrupts everybody. I was at the street and I saw him and heard him. See how obnoxious he is and how loud. And that's, he would sit there from the street with his phone and then capture it all and say that I was his problem. But he wouldn't capture the previous incident where I was being provoked. So I sat in the car and I waited. DeLange squealed, had walked by, and he was smirking. And I remained in my car, and the guy behind me sat in his car and waited, and he waited, and he waited. So here's kind of what the situation looked like. I'll show you. So here is the 124. And there's the building, and this is their driveway in front of their unit. Here's Croydon Avenue going north to south. So he's facing east. His car is facing east. And I'm parked right here. And I walked over here, and the mailboxes are right here. And I walked kind of in front of his car. And I could see directly to where my car was parked. It was easy to see where my car was parked. Here, when I parked my car, this is where that guy pulled in. He pulled in like this, and then he backed in to her spot, and he was looking directly across me. This is about 5 meters. This is about 5 meters, so about 15 feet, 20 feet, maybe about 6 meters, 7 meters. So anyways, he was sitting in his car here, and he was just kind of staring at me as I walked around my car doing stuff. And here in this building behind us is some other buildings, and I think there are also units that the Anglican Church owns in this building as well. So I think they're working on owning this building. Anyways, so I'm sitting in my car at this point, and he is still sitting in his car, and he's trying to engage me, like he's staring at me, and I think, like I said, I think he's trying to hope that I'll look at him and I'll say, what's your problem? And there'll be a fight, right? And he wants to engage so that he can say I'm aggressive with even strangers. Not only does Chris, this is what they're trying to set up, not only does Chris have a problem with the Anglicans, but he has a problem with the non-Anglicans like DeLange squealed. And he also has a problem with the new Anglicans that come here and don't do anything to instigate him. That's false. They do. They had an agenda, you can tell. And lots of times they act passive aggressively in the exact same way as the people that were here previous to them. And then they go and say, and look at this guy, doesn't have anything to do with this. He's just a friend. He's just visiting. And look at how Chris behaves to him. No, they don't say nothing about the threats or anything, but they'll say that I'm aggressive. I'm the one with the problem. I'm the one, because they want to establish that I have a problem. And they've been provoking us from the time we came here. I can give you lots of stories about games foolfully next door. I can give you lots of stories about Crapland. I can give you lots of stories about Doss Vile. All these different people, fake names. Given names, because I can't use their real name, otherwise the Anglican lawyers will be down my throat. Maybe I can give them real names. Maybe I should give their real names. People should know about these people. However, it doesn't matter, because there's so many people that are doing exactly the same thing. The list would be long. Getting sidetracked. So I'm in my car still, and I finally decide, okay, this is ridiculous, and I get out of my car. And as soon as I open my car, he opens his car, and he makes a beeline directly from my car. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I looked at him, and I never said nothing. I just kind of... Are you okay? And I said, who are you? He goes, are you okay? I says, what are you asking me if I'm okay for? Fine. I'm doing my thing, man. Who are you? You don't live here. What's in any of your business? And he goes, are you okay? It's just, he seems to, I'm just trying to be caring and I'm just, concerned. I'm just a concerned citizen. Said something like that. I just want to know if you're okay. I'm fine, man. I said, but I don't really think that you care too much about my well-being. I think that there's something else going on around here, or I think there's something else going on here, and I don't think that you have any concern for whether I'm really okay or not. So why don't you just go on, leave me alone? So anyways, he got a little bit assertive, and he kept pressing, are you okay? I says, dude, did you not just hear me? Type of thing. And he goes, you have a problem. You have a serious problem. I'm just here showing concern. I'm just care about you. Why? What's so wrong about what I'm doing? I'm just walking around my car, checking the oil, checking the mailbox. I'm just doing my thing. What is your problem? Anyways, he wouldn't answer. I says, what's your name? He wouldn't answer. I said, are you friends with Delaney Squealed? He wouldn't answer that. I said, are you friends with Unit so and so where that girl lives? He wouldn't answer. I said, well, you're parked in her spot. He wouldn't answer. And I said, so I think that you are friends with either one of them, and I think that you're just trying to start a problem with me. You're just trying to start something. How close am I? He goes, oh, you got a problem. And then he turns back and says, uh, around this time, I don't know, he says something like, I'm afraid, I feel as if I should be concerned for my well-being. And I said, your safety, concern for your safety, I'm not a threat to you. You're the one who's sitting in your car staring at me for 7 minutes. How long were you in your car? 7 minutes. I said, what were you doing? Looking at my phone. And I says, well, it looked an awful lot like you were staring at me. And you were in there for 7 or 8 minutes staring at me. I sat in my car and I waited for you to go and you still sat staring. And I got out of my car and then you got out of your car. And then you walked directly over to me and said, are you okay? Are you okay? Well, I don't really think that you are concerned for whether I'm okay or not. I think you're just starting a problem. And then he goes, you got a problem. You got a problem. And I says, no, I don't. And I said, do you know that girl in so-and-so? Is that why you're here? I said, did she tell you, maybe you should know a little bit about the history before you get involved here. I said, did she tell you about how her friends came to my door trying different keys into my door? And he goes, uh, uh, and then he was flustered. And then I said, are you Delang Squealed's friend? I said, have you been told about how he disrespects me and provokes and instigates me? Did you know my unit was broken into? Our computer's broken, our phone's cracked. Um, uh, and he goes, I don't care about your life. You're boring. You're really boring. You're boring me. I don't care about you. So now I'm saying to him, well, I thought you cared about me. You just came up to me asking me if I was okay, and you had all this concern. And here you're telling me now that you don't care about me and that you're bored. And then he got angry. And then he goes, look, if you want to solve this, we can go somewhere else and solve this. Now, remember earlier on I talked about craze and snarker and how I approach these people. And I said, look, if you if you have a problem, then if you're going to bully me, then I would rather just nip it in the bud and get rid of it right away. And it would be better that we just fix it right now. And we can go off site and do that. And if you want to teach me a lesson, then you can teach me a lesson and it can be done with. No, 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 everything's okay, everything's okay. So I figured everything was fine. This guy came, now here, I want to stop. He said the same thing. It's almost like he mirrored exactly, he echoed exactly, except in a hostile way, in a completely different light, in a completely different arena. He's coming from a completely different playing field, from a completely different arena than what I was doing when I approached the students. I wasn't being aggressive. I didn't want to be aggressive. I was hoping that we could resolve it without violence or um, anything like that, just by talking. But he completely wanted aggression. He wanted violence. He was hoping for it, and he was provoking it. So there was a completely different thing. However, it shows he echoed exactly what I said. So it shows, in my view, I think that's pretty evident that there was a relationship between what happened on the 18th of June and what happened on the 9th of July when he came up, which is the date he came up and started harassing me. And that he is there visiting this girl, and that Delang Squealed was sitting in his car waiting for it, and that the cars had all been moved so that there was a perfect view to where cars that are usually parked there, were moved so that there was a clear view to my car and all the activity around my car. that Delangskild could have got from his car on video. Plus, there were people in that building to the south of us in the window I saw watching the whole thing, and there were people in 124 watching the whole thing, and there was a woman in our building that was watching the whole thing. So it looked to me like the whole system was premeditated, like the whole game was like a premeditated drama, and so I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then when I said to the guy, look, here you are telling me that I'm boring and you don't care about me, and yet you walk across the parking lot straight for my car, and you're like, are you okay? Something doesn't fit here, man. I don't think you're being very sincere and very honest at all. What's going on? Who are you? And then he got angry, and then he walked away. And when he walked away, he said, as he walked away, he said, and after I had brought up the girl, he goes, and if you ever do anything to her, or I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to deal with you, I'll take care of it. And I says, oh, are you threatening me? And he goes, yeah, I'm threatening you. He said, this is a threat. This is a threat. So he made a direct threat to me in public, and many people heard it, and many people saw the entire thing, and he made a direct threat to me. Later on, so after the threat was made, he was angry. He walked away. I said, stay away from me, and you tell her to stay away from me. And he goes, yeah, you too, mate. And he walked away and went to her unit, I'm guessing. I turned around, so I didn't see where he went, but I'm guessing her unit. I went back to my unit, and then I came back out. Now, before he had left, when he thought he was successful in getting what he wanted, when he said to me that, wow, you got a problem, and all this other stuff, these other insults he was throwing at me. He had his back turned to me, and he looked up, and I could see him smiling, and he looked up at the other building to the south of us, and he looked in one of the windows as if he knew somebody that was in there, as if he wanted to show his face, as if he was smiling about the situation to somebody that he knew in that building. Whether he knew somebody in that building or not, I don't know. But I think that there is a relationship between some of the people in the buildings to the south of us, in the same way that there's a relationship between the many people on the street, because there's many students here and there's many Anglicans on the street. And there's many people involved in the Anglican Church, Presbyterian Church, Baptist Church. All these people go to this more theological Bible college. And I think that they gossip behind my back and spread lies about me, trying to cause problems, because I caught them in all their crimes and in all their abuses and in all their computer crimes. Plus, I think there is a connection between Anglican corruption and government corruption and police corruption. So anyways, I walked away. I came back out, and I saw somebody sitting in the unit that he had looked at. And I saw this woman, and I've seen her around before, and she was sitting. She doesn't live there. She was visiting. And she was sitting in the unit talking to and giggling as if, discussing something very funny. And I had seen her before, so I kind of think, or it occurred to me, that maybe she was watching the situation and she was a witness, because they always have witnesses. They'll instigate, they'll stir up the hive, they'll get you going, they'll rile you up, and then they have witnesses there, as if they were just there by coincidence, as if. So anyways, I went back into the unit, and immediately after, I went straight to the police station. Now, when I went to the police station, I got to the police station, and there was a bunch of nonsense going on, and they didn't want to deal with it. They kind of pushed me away and said they were busy. They said a whole bunch of police they had a special case somewhere, and they had to go. All the police had to leave the office. So they had no one there to take my statement. And they said, can you come back in an hour and a half? And so I says, oh, whatever. So I went to Burwood. And then when I went to Burwood, I walked in and I waited there for 10 minutes or whatever. Finally, this short brunette comes up, this constable comes up wearing police uniform, comes up, and I never noticed the tag, her name, but she's short, brown hair, and she takes my statement. Now, she never I think that when she was taking my statement, that she was very resistant. One sec, I gotta check something. So I think that this female cop was being resistant. At one point, she never wrote anything down. I was talking for quite some time, like 15 or 20 minutes, and all she had was a Post-it note. I gave her the license plate number of this guy. I gave her a very good description of the guy. I said, he's got red hair, crow's feet, blue eyes, He had short reddish blonde hair, short well-kept reddish beard. He had a chipped tooth on his left front tooth, as if he was smoking crack. And she goes, "Oh, don't say that." And I says, "What?" He goes, "Don't you dare. We don't make assumptions here." I says, "No, I'm just saying as if he was smoking. Don't make assumptions." And then she got really aggressive, and then from that point on she was very resistant. And I said, "Well, you don't seem," and she goes, "Okay, well, I got this, I'll make the report." I says, "Well, you don't seem very interested." I told her about the threat, and she goes, "No, that's not a threat." I says, "What do you mean? He said to me, this is a threat, I'm making a threat." And he goes, "Well, that could be anything. He could be threatening to, do anything. What did he do? What did he say he was going to do?" And this is where I want to stop and make a comment. This guy knew that. He said, he never said, "I'm gonna beat the shit out of you," or "I'm gonna beat you to death," or "I'm gonna kill you," "I'm gonna stab you." He just said, I'm threatening you." He said, "This, wait, I'll take care of you. If you do this to her, if you hurt her in any way, or if you bother her, I'm gonna take care of you." Well, what's bothering? And what's taken care of? And I said, "Are you threatening me?" "I'm threatening you. Yeah, I'm threatening you. And this is a threat." But that's all he said. He knew what to answer. It's almost as if he knew what to say and was he was like coached. He doesn't seem like a bright guy. I don't think he could think of this himself. And the way he was talking, like, for example, when he said, "I feel as if I should be feeling afraid for my safety," that's not something that comes from him. That was coached. He's not the type of person to say that. He's like an aggressive kind of douchebag type of person. He doesn't seem like the type of person that would say something like that. But if you look at the statement, he feels as if he's being threatened. He feels as if he's unsafe. He's not making any statement to me. He's not saying I'm threatening him, but he's saying that he feels that way. And that's enough, I think, if you feel threatened. And so he's saying that he feels threatened, and he's publicly declaring it in a loud way and making a big drama out of it, like, I feel threatened, which I mirrored and then kind of threw back at him later, and he didn't like that. So anyways, when by saying what he said, he never made a threat, the police said. The officer, the constable, the female cop told me, "No, he never threatened you. That's not a threat. So this is not a threat. What are you doing here? This is no threat." So anyway, she just basically threw it in the trash and didn't have any interest. I turned around and I never turned around. I said to her, I says, "What do you mean it's a threat?" He said, "I'm threatening you." It's a threat. He said, "Do you want to go and fight?" He said, "We can go off site and deal with this." Well, deal with it how? What do you think? See, this is what I mean. He was coached and he knew how to talk. He never said, "I want to fight you off site. I want to go over there and fight you." He said, "Do you want to deal with this? We can deal with this in another place." But he was implying, exactly echoing, exactly what I had said to the guys before, which was, "Look, if you're going to bully me, why don't you just go, well, we'll go somewhere else and then you can teach me a lesson there, but I'm not going to be responsible for what happens. But this bullying is no good, and I'm not going to let you bully me." So they were very different from what I said from what he said. However, he said it in an aggressive way. And again, furthermore, he said it in a way that was very sneaky and very ambivalent. So he was coached, because I don't think he would have the capacity to think of this on his own. And he just seems like an aggressive kind of guy who loves cars, loves fast cars, and that's it. Maybe a cop type guy, but that's it. Or maybe like a drug dealer or something. Anyways, that's just the type of person he was, just kind of really shady. So someone who would be friends with Squield, the same type of shady character. So, the type of person that backstabs you or sneaks into your room when you're sleeping, or scratches your car when you're not looking, or gets his friends to smash into your car when you park your car on your way to work or whatever while you're at work. So that's the type of person he was. So the police said to me, "That's not a threat." I said to the police, "No, it is. No, it isn't." And they said, she said, "And besides, it sounds like you were kind of instigating." I says, "No, I wasn't. I was defending myself." "Well, it sounds like you were kind of had a part in it, and it takes two to tango, and you were kind of instigating it." I'm like, "So what are you talking about?" I said, if I'm a female and I get raped and I come in here and tell you that some guy said that he's going to rape me, or that he's going to take care of me if I don't do what he wants, then you'd say that he never threatened me?" And she never said nothing. I said, if some guy does that to me and I'm a female, and then are you going to tell me that I was looking for it because of the way I dressed? She never said nothing, but then she started getting angry, frustrated, and annoyed, and she just kind of wanted to end the conversation. So she said, "Okay, well, I'll take care of this. I'll take care of this." I said, "But I'll write it down." I said, "You've only got a little note, post-it note. You don't even. What's his license plate number? And what's his description? You don't know any of that. How could you get all that from memory?" Anyways, so I left. I went back the next week. That was the 9th of July. Then on the, what was it, the 20 on the 16th of July, I went back to Burwood, and then I asked for a report because I wanted a copy of the report. You have to pay for that. Okay, I got money. Oh, well, you got to go somewhere else and do it. Anyways, here's the number. I said, okay, well, I'm going to pay for it. Where do I go? Don't worry about it, the guy says. Just keep your money. Save your money. Don't worry about the report. So I said, well, fine. So I took the report number, and then the following week, Sunday, on the 23rd, I went back to Ashfield. And at Ashfield, I asked the cop, I have a report here number. Can you tell me what day it was made? And the woman that I was talking to said this was made by Cunningham. I didn't get the date. And I said, Cunningham, what's she look like? Blonde. I says, no, the last report I made was about a threat. No, nothing about a threat here. This is about computer programs or computer hacking or something, neighbors or something like that. I said, well, who made it? So and so constable. And I said, who was what? They're blonde. And I says, no, the girl was black hair, short with black hair. Well, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what's going on. So anyways, I said, this is really pisses me off. I don't think that the report was made. A threat was made to me, and I don't think the report was made. So then I went away and I went back on July 30th. And then I would talk to another constable on July 30th. This guy appeared to be more helpful. I said to him, what's a threat? And I said, first of all, I said, I have a number here. When was it done? I have a case number here. When can you tell me the date that it was filed? It was filed in June or July of 2016. I says, okay, what was it about? It was about computers and neighbors hacking. And yeah, okay, so that's the wrong file. I'm looking for a threat that was made against me on the 9th. I reported it at Burwood, and they didn't make the report. They didn't file it. They didn't file the report. They didn't put it in. The woman that I was talking to just scrapped it. She didn't take it in. Didn't do the report. And then I had a heck of a time trying to get any information about the incident, about whether or not the report was made. Finally, the guy said, well, the report's not here, so obviously it wasn't made. I gave him a little bit of backstory about going to Burwood, and he goes, well, I'll do it here. So then he puts the report in, and I said to him, what's a threat? And he goes, well, a threat is anything that makes you feel unsafe. Now, this reminded me of what the guy said. The guy said to me, I feel unsafe. That rat BF there, the guy who parked behind me and was instigating, he came up to me and said, I feel unsafe. I feel as if I should be concerned for my safety. That's exactly what the cop said. He was using the same wording that a cop would use. I think he was coached. I think that he knows the law, or he was coached by somebody that knows the law and knows how to entrap me in a way that makes me look bad, that makes me look like a threat. What they want to do is show that I'm a threat. They want to try and instigate a situation where I'm a threat, so then they can say that I'm a threat, you have to leave. Or I'm a threat, we have the right to watch you. Or you're a threat, Chris, we have a right to watch you. We have a right to put police on you. We have a right. When they've done this all before, they've already done background checks. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing these things to me. They have lots of evidence further than that that shows that they've done background checks. There's lots of evidence suggesting that they have police friends, and that they have police people in the police force that are involved in the Anglican, Presbyterian, Baptist, or whatever church that do them favors. They established me as an enemy, and they utilize any resource they have to engage with the enemy. Wow. So anyways, the only reason they're engaging with me is because I caught them. One, they wanted the unit to begin with, and I caught them in their crimes, and I vocalized it, and I went public. And they are trying to deface me right now, and trying to make me look bad, and trying to make me look like a criminal. So at this point, I'm talking to the guy at Asheville, and it's July 30th, and I'm giving him a background on the story. And he goes, so now he takes the report, he writes it directly into the computer, and then he shows me a picture of the guy. But I don't think it's the guy. I said, well, it's same sort of, it's a black and white picture, a tiny black and white picture like this. A very, very small black and white picture, like small, like maybe 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters or something like that. I can barely see it. I says, well, maybe it's the guy. I said, but looks like light hair. It's black and white. The guy's face is fatter. The guy I talked to was thinner than that, but maybe he lost weight or whatever. I don't know. Sure, it might be the guy. Anyways, I think I'm gonna have to go back and get a magnifying glass and look at the photo. I think maybe that the cop showed me the wrong photo, and I think that maybe the cop was trying to establish that my witness was not credible, and that I couldn't identify the person. So I'm going to have to go back, and hopefully I can talk to the constable and get a better identification, and also check if he shows me the same photo. Anyways, it might be the same guy, but if it was the same guy, the photo that he showed me, he was quite a bit heavier before and when the photo was taken. This guy here was thinner. But they do that also. Like, for example, Crapland gained 30 kilos in less than a year. They lose weight, they gain weight, they grow their hair long, they shave their hair short, they grow beards, they shave beards off, they walk around impersonating each other. It's really crazy the things that these students have done at this building. It's absolutely insane. If I were to sit here and tell you everything that I've seen, uh, you wouldn't believe almost all of it, most of it. Like, it's nuts. So the police said, established that, yeah, a threat is anything where you feel unsafe. So yes, the guy was threatening you. Uh, do you have, I gave him the description. I gave him the license plate number. He wrote it down. I gave him a description of the incident. And now it's on record. Now, if this guy tries, my whole point was that to establish that this guy threatened me and that a threat was made, that this guy is a third party. This is what I want to say. The guy threatened me. The guy was, I think the situation was related to what happened on, not only on the 18th of June, when I approached the students, um, and that issue was related to many, many issues before, bullying previously by other students, but also that the students that I spoke to on the 18th, somehow that situation is related to this situation because this situation echoed it. It's like they don't want to deal with it themselves because they want to keep their hands clean, so they get a third party in there to deal with it and to threaten me. And this is what they've done since I moved here. If I do anything or say anything that they don't like, they will approach me, but they won't. They'll instigate and they'll try to get me to retaliate, and they'll try to get me to be aggressive, or they'll try to get me to act in a way, and then they'll claim that I'm dangerous. But I don't. I haven't bit so far. And then if I don't bite, they get third party people to do it. Um, uh, Somebody on the outside. And this is an exactly very specific example of a third party who apparently isn't involved with the More Theological Bible College, and yet echoes very closely exactly things that are happening with the More Theological Bible College. And he knew that girl. And that girl, her friends were More Theological Bible College students that were coming to my door. I'm pretty sure of it. I've seen them hanging out with other More Theological Bible College students. So if they're not students, they're friends. And if they're not friends, they're churchgoers. So it's all related. And it all stems back to the More Theological Bible College property manager, the Anglican property manager, motivated and never said, wow, go and harass Chris in Unit 5 and get rid of him so that we can buy the unit. But he probably said something like, well, wouldn't it be nice if we owned the whole building? Wouldn't it be nice if we owned that unit so everybody could be friendly and we could all be friends and all study the Bible and all talk about Jesus together? So I think that I'm pretty certain, 100, well, almost 100%, that this guy was engaged with Anglicans. That this guy, the guy who parked in the car, Rat BF, 00, that he, the one who threatened me, that he was coached, and that the situation was fabricated and premeditated. And this is just one example. This has happened since I moved here. Situations that are like that, where they're fabricated. The first one or two times you're like, wow, that's a weird coincidence. But when it happens almost every day I go out, that's too much. That's not a coincidence. And when you see the same people doing the same attacks, it's too much. It's ridiculous. Now the problem is that the cops ignored it. The female didn't even take the report, and there was resistance at both stations. Both times that I went there, I went on the 9th. There was resistance. I went on the 16th. I went on the 23rd, and finally on the 30th it was reported and put through. But even on the 30th, I think the guy showed me a false picture. So even then, there's a little. I'm wondering what's going on there. I don't know. So I think that yes, I think that the Anglican Church has a relationship with the police force, and I think that the police force side with the Anglican Church and with the more theological Bible college here. There's lots of powerful people within the Anglican Church, and lots of rich people. Look at Premier Mike Baird, was the Premier of New South Wales before he became a big banker. He was previously a banker before he became Premier. Then he became a banker again when he dropped out. He went to the same church that one of the students that were, I think, lots of evidence suggests, was engaged in attack campaigns on our computers. That student was a student minister at the church that Premier Mike Baird goes to, and that student was, well, he says that he was certified Microsoft, technician, certified Microsoft specialist. He was specialized in remote system administration, and remote server administration, in remote log administration, basically remote everything. So he knew how to administer, well, he knows how to administer and is certified to administer Windows computers, and he knows remote computer administration. So he was involved, I'm certain, in these attacks, and lots of evidence on my Windows computer shows that it was being administered remotely by a person who really knew a lot about remote administration. Not only that, but he went to the same church that Premier Mike Baird went to, and Premier Mike Baird government was involved in legislation that would promote this behavior and allow them to get away with this behavior without getting caught and without getting prosecuted. For example, metadata retention laws that was passed by Premier Mike Baird's government, and Rufus R-U-F-U-S Black was an Anglican theologian and ethicist who advised on the system, on the uh, agenda, metadata retention law agenda. The Anglicans want these laws. Anglicans are interested in device manipulation, device cracking, device attacking, communications attacking, communications monitoring, and remote computer administration and attack and cracking. They're interested, the Anglicans want to have laws that protect them in their activities. They justify these activities as being for national security, but in the fact, it's just to make money. It's just to engage in, to have a reason to go into people's computers and phones and learn what they're doing, monitor what they're doing, steal data, and steal information. From journalists, from other politicians, from whatever computer you want to access, from foreigners that come here. Say the Apple guy, Wozniak, comes here, access his computer and see what he's doing, see what you can steal from him. They use backdoor. I removed all wireless and Bluetooth cards, and they were accessing my computers after I removed those devices. After I removed those modules from my computers, they were still accessing my computers. So how are they accessing my computers when my computers should be completely air-gapped? There's a hardware backdoor into the computers, and these Anglicans, pardon me, were using these hardware backdoors to get into my computers and to monitor my computers. There's nothing I can do to protect it. It's like the Patrick Stewin's IAMT attack, where you go underneath a firewall, where you go underneath the software, and you actively engage with the hardware directly, and you actively engage with DMA, which is direct memory access directly. I know these backdoors exist because they've been attacking my computers since 2013, and I removed the wireless and Bluetooth cards about 2014, and they've been doing it since. I can't even use computers anymore. It's pointless. So this is horrible, and this is completely wrong, and this goes against every single right and privacy of anybody. And these people have proven over and over and over that they're immoral, that they are unethical, that they use and wield these back doors, this knowledge, the privy knowledge of these back doors for corrupt purposes. They have no right to go into my machines. And in the first place, they have no right to just go through anybody's computer they want and see if the person's okay. And if they're not okay, then attack them. But you can't go into a person's computer with no just cause. You can't go into someone's house with no just cause. But they do. And I think that this is complete wrong. This is a church that's doing this. Anglican Church, Church of England. I don't think it's right. Presbyterian Baptist churches are involved in this too. Crackers were the cracker next door, who I think was engaged in cracking our computers, was a Baptist. And there's other technology guys that are members of other churches in Australia. So I say Anglican and Company. The point is that this threat was made to me. It was made by a third party, that the Anglicans use third parties to get things done. I think that this person either has a relationship with the Anglican Church, and the Anglican Church utilized him either through Delang squealed, or through that girl, or through somebody else. The whole point is that he threatened me, and that serves the agenda of the church. And he threatened me in a way that directly mirrors and echoes exactly what was said to the students before when I was trying to when I was addressing the problem of them bullying me. Are you bullying me? Okay, if you're bullying me, then maybe we can go somewhere else. We can deal with this and nip it in the bud, but I don't want to deal with this all the time. That type of thing. So, DeLang Squild does the same thing. I think that he works with the Anglicans, and I think that this guy here, Rat BF00, he shows exactly what the role of DeLang Squield. DeLang Squield does what the Anglicans don't want to do. When the Anglicans don't want to get their hands dirty, DeLang Squield steps in. Property manager talks to them or whatever, or they go have a meeting or get a text or whatever, and DeLang Squield steps in. Let's say that they want somebody quiet. Somebody's being aggressive. Somebody is stepping up and saying something. Well, DeLang Squield goes and smashes their car, or DeLang Squield gets his friend to smash their car. Something like that. Like a third party well, you can't prove it. You can't prove there's any interaction, and yet it's so funny that when someone said something, their car got smashed, or when somebody did something, their car got smashed. And after I moved here, 3 cars got smashed. Very shortly, less than 6 months after I moved here, 3 of the people who lived in these buildings, their cars got smashed in the same way. They took them to work, or they had them parked there, and the car got smashed, but nobody saw anything. Everybody, I can't go to the garbage can to empty my garbage without somebody from building 124 looking out their window at me, and yet nobody sees the damage that was done to one of the people's car that was here. And then 2 other people had their cars damaged off-site in the same way. They parked their car, go to work, and they came home and came back to the car, and the car was smashed. Well, these people know where they work, and they know where they parked their car, and they smashed it. It wasn't accidental. It was likely because they were saying or doing something that they didn't like, or that they wanted to insinuate that it was me that was doing it. Well, these things happened after you moved here, Chris. They never happened before. So this is like what I'm talking about, passive aggression and accusations and doubt and slurring people's name, home wrecking, causing problems. This is a huge stress on anybody that it would be, any target that they did this to, that would be a huge stress. That would cause stress in that family. That would cause stress in the relationships of the people being targeted. These Anglicans don't care. They're homewreckers. If they're targeting people and it's causing people problems because of the stress and the bullying, that's homewrecking. They want this unit, so they're going to harass us and bully us until it causes marital problems? Is that what their plan is? They're going to harass us and bully us and break all our computers until we just can't afford any computers anymore and our lives are completely ruined and we just have to leave? And then they do it to the next person that comes in? Well, I think that's what's going on. This person made a direct threat to us. The police rejected it, didn't want anything to do with it, didn't even report it. I think that indicates that the Anglican Church and the New South Wales Police Force have a relationship. I think it's a legitimate report that I made about the threat. He was threatening. He was assertive. No, he was aggressive, and he wasn't being nice. He wasn't trying to talk to me, and he wasn't trying to solve a problem. He was setting me up. And that can be seen in how he switched. One minute he's saying, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay?" Next minute he says, "I don't care about you." And then he says, "Let's go off site and have a fight. I'll fight. I'll take care of you. You want to take care of this off site in some other way? We can figure something out." And then after that he says, "I'm threatening you. This is the threat. If you do anything, then I'm going to take care of you." Okay. It all started with, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And that goes back to the very first day I moved here. If you're upset or whatever, "Are you okay?" That's how they get your confidence. It's a it's a con job. That's how they get your confidence. That's how they get your trust. That's how they disarm you. And then when you think they're your friend, you divulge, you share, and then they take all that information and then they go back to their masters. They're like little minions that run back to their masters and say, "Okay, hey, guess what I heard? Guess what? He told me this and this and this." "Right, mate, tell me this and this and this, and we got this on him, mate." And that's exactly what they do. They con you. It's a con job. They try to get your trust, and then when you "All right, mate, I really care about you, mate. I really care about feelings. It's You gotta let it out, mate. Can't let that anger inside you. You gotta let it out, mate." And then when you let it out, they say, "Oh, mate, you're really aggressive. You're really assertive." Right? And it's a con job. These people are con artists. They appear to be kind and friendly, and they appear to care for you, but they don't. And this guy, what he was doing is exactly the same thing. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" He really doesn't care about that. He wants to instigate me. He wants to provoke me eventually into either revealing something or revealing that I'm or anything that he can use. Oh man, he was really paranoid. He was talking. He even said to me, "Wow, man, this sounds like a conspiracy." When I was talking to him about stuff that was happening, I said, "Hey, you can call it whatever you want, but I know these people are doing this. These people are breaking into our home. These people broke into our computers. These people harass us, and these people bully us. And I think that you're bullying me right now. So you can call it whatever you want. I don't know what is that what you call it?" And then he wouldn't take that because I never bit. See, what they want to do is they want to establish that you're paranoid. They want to establish that you're a conspiracy theorist. They want to establish that you're full of nonsense and that you're unstable and that you're dangerous. One of the students here even said to me, "Oh yeah, I was told that you're dangerous." What? Or no, sorry, that's the wrong word. Unstable. What? Where'd you get this from? You wouldn't tell me. So they're coached. Before he even came here, he was coached and he was told how to think about me and how to feel about me. Was he told about the breaking in? Was he told about the computers? Well, I said to him, I said, "Well, they break into our computers." He goes, "Well, I got nothing to worry about." You're missing the point, man. What do you mean you got nothing to worry about? I'm not doing anything bad. So that's not the point. How about I go into your house and check in your bedroom when you're sleeping? How about that? You're not doing anything bad. You're not having a threesome or anything. You're not doing anything bad. Okay, I'll leave. I'll come back and check in next week. Check next weekend. I'll check on Friday. Right, mate? Gonna check and just checking to see if everything's okay in the bedroom. Don't want you to be doing anything wrong. So he totally missed my point. His idea was like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so it doesn't matter if people go into my computer. And I said to him, okay, let's say you got a, com, a competing student, and he knows how to hack your computer, and he hacks your computer and screws up your paper, and you fail your paper. Well, that would never happen. I'm not a very smart guy. So they just make up BS after BS after BS to cover their tracks and to cover their position. And then after that, well, nothing ever sees the light of day, and they just cover it up and they deny and then they deny and deny. So the Anglicans harassed me. The Anglicans got a third party in this situation on June 9th, got a third party to come in and threaten me. And it was, in my view, and evidence suggests that it was directly related to interaction that I had with Anglican students previously. So I think that the Anglican Church has a direct relationship with the police force, the police of New South Wales, Australia, and I think that the Anglican Church has a direct relationship with the Australian government. I think that legislation is being passed to facilitate the Anglicans doing these laws and breaking these laws, and I think that that the Anglican Church is absolutely and without a doubt corrupt, engaged in computer crimes, and engaged in corruption and cover up. And I think that um, they harassed. This all started when we moved into this unit, and they were harassing us to create an uncomfortable environment so that we would leave, so that they could buy the unit and have one more unit to own in this building. So, and I think that they use these same tactics in buildings in other places in other areas where they wanted to get property so that they can develop. So this is getting really long. Oof. Anyways, thanks for watching, and hopefully this comes to the light and people are aware of how this institution, I think it's a cult, how this cult behaves and the dangers of this cult. And if you're going to church, that you, Anglican Church, that you realize that every single person at 126 Croydon Avenue and 124 Croydon Avenue was engaged in these attacks against us, either directly or indirectly, either in an active way or in a passive way. They all knew about what was going on. I was very loud and vocal about it, and they all did nothing. They all stepped sideways. And all the people who engaged in direct attacks on us and direct harassment, they all have jobs now in churches. So I think that that's pretty evil and pretty wicked that they can engage in criminal behavior like that and then out of Bible college get a job somewhere and stand up in front of people claiming that they're preaching Jesus.